My name is Margaret Hayes. I'm 72, a retired real estate broker in Phoenix, Arizona, and on a Wednesday morning in March, my children had me committed to a memory care facility. They thought they were protecting their inheritance. They had no idea what I'd done 6 hours earlier. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how a real estate broker with a sharp mind and a long memory plans her revenge. I wasn't born with money. Grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment in Tucson, sharing a room with 3 sisters. My father drove a delivery truck. My mother cleaned houses. I put myself through community college selling makeup door to door. Got my real estate license at 24. Sold my first house at 25, a modest 3-bedroom in Glendale that netted me $847 in commission. I was hooked. 30 years later, I'd built Hayes Realty into one of the top independent brokerages in Phoenix. Sold over $200 million in property, retired at 65 with a portfolio that included 3 rental properties and substantial savings. My husband Richard died 8 years ago. Heart attack at the kitchen table while reading the morning paper. We'd planned to travel, to finally enjoy what we'd built. Instead, I buried him and kept working for 2 more years because the silence at home was unbearable. When I finally retired 3 years ago, I had 2 children who called on Sundays, 4 grandchildren I saw on holidays, and enough money to live comfortably for the rest of my life. I thought I'd raised good kids, taught them about hard work, integrity, gratitude. I was about to learn how wrong I'd been. It started small. January last year, my daughter Claire called. "Mom, Tyler's tuition is due. We're short about $8,000. Can you help?" Tyler was my oldest grandson. Good kid. Pre-med at ASU. Of course I helped. "Pay me back when you can," I said. "Absolutely. You're the best, Mom." March. My son David called. "Mom, we need a new roof. $15,000. Insurance won't cover it. Can you loan us the money?" David was my baby. 42 years old, but still my baby. I'd loaned him money before. He was slow to pay back, but he always did. Eventually. "Sure, honey. I'll transfer it tomorrow. You're a lifesaver." May Claire again. "Mom, we're buying a new SUV. Our credit's not great right now, long story, but could you co-sign?" "We'll make all the payments. How much?" $35,000, but like I said, we're covering it. Just need your name." I hesitated. Co-signing felt different, but she was my daughter. "Okay. Email me the paperwork." "Thank you, Mom. You're amazing." July. David. "Mom, my landscaping business needs capital. Just $20,000 to get through summer. I'll pay you back with interest by September." August. Claire. "Mom, can you watch the kids for 2 weeks?" We booked Hawaii for our anniversary. The resort was a steal. Not a request. An assumption. I said yes anyway. September. David. "Mom, about that $20,000. Business hit some snags. Can you give me until December?" October. Claire. "Mom, the car payment's due and Todd's between jobs. Can you cover it? Just this once." November. David. "Christmas is coming. The kids are expecting gifts. Business is still slow. Can you help?" December. Both of them. "Joint Christmas at your place, right, Mom? We're inviting everyone. Maybe you could handle the food? And gifts for the cousins." I hosted. I cooked. I bought presents. And I started keeping a ledger in a notebook I hid in my desk drawer. By January of this year, $67,000 loaned. Not counting the co-signed car loan or the Christmas expenses. Repaid. $0 February 28th, a Thursday evening. I was cleaning out my email inbox. Something I did quarterly. Old habit from running a business. In my junk folder, buried under spam, an email from David, sent to Claire. Accidentally CC'd to me. Subject, Mom's accounts Claire. Talk to the lawyer like you said. If we can prove cognitive decline, we can get power of attorney. Then we have access to everything. She's sitting on close to $1 million in savings alone, not counting the house and rental properties. That's our inheritance. We shouldn't have to wait for her to die to get what's ours. Plus, she's getting forgetful anyway. We'd basically be helping her. Let me know when you want to do this. The lawyer said we need to move before she changes anything. David, I read it 3 times. Then I went to the bathroom and threw up, my children. The babies I'd carried, birthed, raised, who I'd sacrificed for, who I'd supported financially even when they were middle-aged adults. They thought I was senile. were planning to have me declared incompetent, to take control of my money I'd earned, money Richard and I had built together. I sat on the bathroom floor, my back against the cold tile, and let the reality sink in. They didn't want to wait for me to die. They wanted it now. I was 72, in perfect health. My mind was sharp as it had ever been. I could live another 20 years, but they didn't want to wait 20 years. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed replaying moments I'd dismissed. Christmas. Claire talking to David in the kitchen, voices low. They'd stopped when I walked in. Just talking about Mom's house, Claire had said. How much work it needs. My house didn't need work. I'd just had it renovated. Thanksgiving. David asking detailed questions about my finances. Just want to make sure you're set up okay, Mom. You know, for the future. I'd thought he cared. Now I wondered what he was calculating. October. Claire suggesting I see a doctor. You seem tired, Mom. Maybe getting confused sometimes. I wasn't, but she'd planted seeds. Made me question myself. The car payment I'd covered. Claire had called me 3 times that day to remind me. Then told David I'd called her repeatedly, forgetting we'd already talked. A lie. Building a narrative. David telling his wife, loud enough for me to hear. Mom left the stove on again yesterday. I'm getting worried. I hadn't. I never did. But his wife had looked at me with such pity. Every phone call. Every visit. They'd been building a case not to help me, to take from me. I got up at 4 a.m., made coffee with shaking hands, watched the sunrise through my kitchen window, and I started planning. March 12th arrived cold for Phoenix. Unseasonable chill in the air. I woke at 6 a.m., showered, put on my best blazer, charcoal gray, the one I'd worn to close million-dollar deals. Did my makeup carefully, every bit the sharp businesswoman I'd always been. At 7 a.m., my phone buzzed. Text from Claire. Mom, can you come over today? Need to talk about something important. 10 minutes later, David. Mom, I'm stopping by around 2. We need to discuss your living situation. There it was. Living situation. I texted both back. I'll be home at 2. See you then. Then I got in my car and started driving. My first stop, my bank. I'd been with Wells Fargo for 30 years. Tom, the branch manager, knew me personally. Margaret. He stood when I entered his office. Wasn't expecting you. Everything okay? I need to discuss my accounts. Privately. His smile faded slightly. Of course. Sit down. I closed the door. Sat across from him. Tom, has anyone tried to access my accounts recently? He looked uncomfortable. I can't really discuss. There was a failed login attempt 2 nights ago. I get alerts. The IP address traced to Scottsdale. My daughter lives in Scottsdale. Mrs. Hayes, I'm not senile, Tom. I'm not confused. And I need to know. Has either of my children contacted you about my accounts? A long pause. Your son called last week. Asked about procedures. If someone became incapacitated, what the bank would need to transfer authority. My stomach clenched. What did you tell him? That we'd need proper legal documentation. Power of attorney signed by you, or a court order declaring incompetence. And if I were declared incompetent, then whoever held power of attorney would have full access to everything. I sat back. Let it settle. Tom, I need to make some changes to my accounts. Today. What kind of changes? The kind that protect me from people I thought I could trust. At 2 p.m. exactly, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find David and Claire standing together. United Front. Behind them, a man in a suit I didn't recognize. Mom? Claire's voice was soft, dripping with concern. Thanks for meeting with us. Of course. Come in. They filed into my living room. The suited man hung back near the door. Mom, David started, sitting on my couch like he owned it. Claire and I have been talking. We're worried about you. Worried. I stayed standing. Didn't offer them drinks. Didn't sit. You've been forgetting things, Claire said gently. Getting confused? Have I? Last week you called me 3 times asking the same question. I hadn't called her once that week, but I just looked at her. And you left the stove on, David added. Twice last month. Mom, what if there'd been a fire? Interesting. I hadn't used my stove in weeks. Been eating mostly salads and sandwiches. You're getting older, Claire continued. It's natural. Nothing to be ashamed of. But we think you need support. Support. We found a wonderful place, David said, in Scottsdale. Memory care facility, beautiful grounds, great staff. We've already toured it. You toured a nursing home. For me, we didn't want to worry you until we were sure, Claire said. The man in the suit stepped forward. Mrs. Hayes, I'm Dr. Morrison. I'm a geriatric psychiatrist. Your children asked me to evaluate you. Evaluate me. Simple cognitive assessment, just to determine what level of care you might need. I looked at David, at Claire, at their concerned faces that didn't reach their eyes. And if I refuse, Mom, David said carefully, we're trying to help you. If you're not willing to help yourself, we may need to pursue other options. Legal options, Claire added quietly. There it was. The threat. I walked to my desk, opened the drawer, pulled out my ledger. Before we discuss my cognitive function, let's discuss something else. Math. I'm curious if either of you can help me with some calculations. Mom, this isn't the time, David started. January 2024. I read from my ledger. Tyler's tuition, $8,000. March, David's roof, $15,000. May, Claire's car cosign. I'm still making payments because you defaulted. July, David's business loan, $20,000. October, Claire's car payment, $2,400. November, David's Christmas fund, $5,000, plus a dozen other small requests. Total loaned, $67,000. Total repaid, $0.00. Silence. But you're right, I continued. I am getting forgetful. I forget that grown adults are supposed to support themselves. I forget that stealing from your mother is called elder abuse. I forget that fraud and conspiracy have legal consequences. Mom, we were just... Claire stumbled. Just what? Just trying to have me declared incompetent so you could access my money? Yes, David. I saw the email. His face went white. The one you accidentally sent me. About talking to a lawyer. About not wanting to wait for me to die. About my inheritance being yours. I can explain, he started. Dr. Morrison. I turned to the psychiatrist. I'm curious. Did my children tell you I'm a retired real estate broker? That I ran a successful brokerage for 30 years? That I handle complex financial transactions? That last week I helped my neighbor negotiate a house sale and saved her $30,000? Dr. Morrison looked uncomfortable. They mentioned you were retired. Did they mention I have no diagnosis of dementia? No medical history of cognitive decline? That my doctor gave me a clean bill of health 3 months ago? Mrs. Hayes, did they mention they owe me $67,000 and haven't repaid a dime? That they're financially motivated to have me declared incompetent? I think I should go, Dr. Morrison said quietly. I think that's wise. He left. Quickly, I turned back to my children. Get out of my house. Mom, you don't understand, Claire tried. I understand perfectly. You're vultures, circling, waiting. But I'm not dead yet, and I'm not senile. So, get out. You can't just... David stood. I can. This is my house. My name on the deed. Now leave before I call the police and report an attempted exploitation of a vulnerable adult. I'm sure that would look great in court when you try to claim I need a guardian. They left. Finally, slamming doors, yelling threats about lawyers and family and how I'd regret this. I locked the door behind them. Then I poured myself a glass of wine and waited. Took them 40 minutes. My phone rang. David. Let it go to voicemail. He called again. And again. 11 times in 20 minutes. Claire texted, Mom, please. We need to talk. We were just worried. Please call us, David texted. I'm sorry about the email. I was frustrated. I didn't mean it. Call me, both of them. Please, Mom. We love you. Don't do anything rash. That last one made me laugh. Too late for that. At 4 p.m., my doorbell rang again. I looked through the peephole. David, Claire, and a woman I didn't recognize. I opened the door but left the chain on. Mom, this is Patricia Chen, Claire said quickly. She's with Arizona Adult Protective Services. We called them because we're concerned. Ms. Chen, I said calmly through the crack. I'm Margaret Hayes. I'm 72 years old, fully competent, And these two adults are my children who attempted to have me falsely declared incompetent so they could access my bank accounts. I have documentation of their financial abuse, $67,000 in unpaid loans, and an email from my son discussing conspiracy to defraud. If anyone needs protecting, it's me. From them. Ms. Chen looked at David and Claire. Is this true? She's confused, David started. I have the email, I said. I have bank records. I have a ledger. And I have a very good lawyer. Would you like his number? Mrs. Hayes, Ms. Chen said carefully. May I come in and speak with you? Alone, I let her in. Close the door on my children. We talked for an hour. I showed her everything. The email, the ledger, my bank statements, my recent doctor's visit showing perfect cognitive function. Mrs. Hayes, she said finally, you're clearly not in need of protective services. In fact, it appears you may be a victim of financial exploitation by family members. I'm required to report this. I'd appreciate that. She left. Gave my children a look that could strip paint. They didn't leave my porch. At 10 a.m. the next morning, my doorbell rang again. This time I was ready. David and Claire stood there with Tom from the bank. My banker, looking deeply uncomfortable. Mrs. Hayes? Tom started. I apologize for this unannounced visit, but your children have some concerns. About my competency. Yes, we've been through this. They're requesting access to your accounts. They have concerns about some large withdrawals. Withdrawals? I smiled. What withdrawals? Mom, Claire pushed forward. We checked with the bank. Yesterday morning, you withdrew nearly $1 million. $1 million? That's not normal behavior. That's concerning. We think someone might be taking advantage of you. Interesting, I said. So you admit you've been monitoring my accounts? She stopped. Without my permission, I continued, which is actually illegal. But let's discuss these concerning withdrawals. Tom, did I withdraw that money? Mrs. Hayes, did I come into your bank of sound mind and request a cashier's check for $890,000? He nodded slowly. Yes. Was I confused? Impaired in any way? No, you were completely lucid. We talked for 20 minutes. You knew exactly what you were doing. And did I have the legal right to withdraw my own money from my own account? Of course. I turned to my children. Their faces were red, furious, panicked. So the concerning behavior you're reporting is me accessing my own money, from my own account, while fully competent. Does that about cover it? Where is it? David demanded. Where's the money? That's none of your business. Like hell it's not. That's our inheritance. Your inheritance? My voice was ice. You're both in your 40s. I'm 72 and in perfect health. That money was never yours. Will never be yours. And the fact that you think you're entitled to it while I'm still alive tells me everything I need to know. Mom, please. Claire's voice cracked. We have bills. We have kids. You need to learn to support yourselves. You're adults. Act like it. We'll contest this, David said. We'll get a lawyer. Prove you're not competent. Try it. My doctor will testify I'm fine. My banker will testify I was lucid. And I have an email from you discussing conspiracy to commit fraud. So please, get a lawyer. I'd love to see you try. Tom cleared his throat. Mrs. Hayes is correct. And I should mention, attempting to access someone's accounts without authorization, even family members, is a serious matter. The bank takes this very seriously. Are you threatening us? David stepped forward. I'm informing you of bank policy. You need to leave now, I said calmly. All of you. Before I call the police. They left. But not before Claire turned back. You'll regret this, Mom. You'll die alone. And when you do, we won't be there. We won't come to your funeral. You'll have nothing. Claire, I said softly. I already have nothing. You made sure of that when you stopped seeing me as your mother and started seeing me as a bank account. Here's what my children don't know. What they'll never know unless they're reading this now. That morning, after I saw David's email, I did more than visit my bank. I went to my lawyer, Stanley Henderson. We'd worked together for 20 years. He'd handled every real estate deal, every contract, every closing. Stanley, I said, I need to set up a trust today, immediately, and I need it bulletproof. What's going on, Margaret? I showed him the email. His face darkened. Jesus, your kids? My kids. We spent 3 hours drafting documents. The trust was simple. All my liquid assets, $890,000, were transferred into an irrevocable trust. I was the trustee. I controlled it. But it was protected. If anyone tried to declare me incompetent, if anyone got power of attorney, they got nothing. The money would be untouchable, and when I died, half to St. Mary's Hospital, half to the Arizona Humane Society, not $1 to David or Claire. Margaret, Stanley said carefully, "Are you sure? This is permanent. You can't undo this, I'm sure. What about your grandkids? I'll set up separate college funds for them. Managed by an independent trustee, my children won't touch it. This will destroy your relationship with them." "Stanley, they destroyed it first. I'm just making sure they can't profit from it." He drew up the papers. I signed them. By 2 p.m., when David and Claire showed up to ambush me with their psychiatrist, my money was already gone, protected, safe, forever out of their reach. David called 63 times in the first week. I blocked his number. Claire sent emails, long ones. "Mom, I don't know what we did wrong. We were just trying to help. We love you. Please talk to us." I didn't respond. Their wives called. "Mrs. Hayes, I don't know what's going on, but David is devastated. He's your son. How can you do this to him?" "Ask him what he did to me," I said. "Then ask yourself if you'd forgive it." The grandkids. That hurt the most. Tyler texted, "Grandma, what happened?" "Dad says you're sick. Are you okay?" I called him. "Tyler, I'm fine. Your father lied. But I need you to know something. Your tuition last year? The $8,000? Your father told me he was short. The truth is, he pocketed that money. I paid your tuition directly to ASU. He never intended to use it for you." Silence on the line. "He's been lying to all of us," I continued. "Using me, using you. I'm sorry you're caught in this, but you're an adult now. You deserve the truth. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. Just remember, family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. Who's honest. Who loves you without conditions." More silence. "I love you." "Grandma, I love you too, sweetheart." 2 months after I emptied my accounts, I got a certified letter David and Claire were contesting. They'd hired a lawyer. They were suing for access to my estate, claiming I was being unduly influenced and financially abused by unnamed parties. Stanley called me. "Margaret, they're grasping at straws, but we need to respond. Let's go to court then." "Are you sure?" "This will be public. Ugly. Good. Let everyone see what they did." The hearing was scheduled for June 15th. I showed up in a navy suit, hair done, makeup perfect. Every bit the competent woman I'd always been. David and Claire sat on the other side with their lawyer, a man in his 30s trying to look important. The judge, Honorable Susan Martinez, reviewed the documents. "Let me understand," she said. "You're claiming your mother is incompetent?" "We believe she's being influenced," their lawyer started. "By whom?" "We don't know. But she withdrew $890,000. Her own money. Yes, but from her own account. Correct, but the amount is her business. Mrs. Hayes, would you like to speak?" I stood. "Your Honor, I'm 72. I retired from a successful real estate career. I have no cognitive decline. My doctor will testify to this. I withdrew my money and placed it in a trust because my children attempted to have me declared incompetent so they could access my accounts. I have an email from my son discussing this conspiracy. I have records of $67,000 in unpaid loans to them. I have documentation of their financial abuse. This lawsuit is a continuation of that abuse. I handed the judge copies of everything. The email, the ledger, the bank statements. She read it all. Her face grew cold. "Mr. Hayes, Ms. Reynolds." She addressed my children directly. "Did you attempt to have your mother declared incompetent?" "We were concerned," David started. "Yes or no?" "We explored options." "Did you hire a psychiatrist to evaluate her without proper cause?" "We thought..." "Did you discuss accessing her accounts before she died?" Silence. "I see. Mrs. Hayes, your assets are your own. This case is dismissed, and I'm ordering the plaintiffs to pay your legal fees. Furthermore, I'm recommending the county attorney review this matter for potential elder abuse charges." The gavel came down. David and Claire stood there, stunned. I walked out without looking back. The new life I didn't expect. It's been 6 months now. David and Claire don't call anymore. Don't text. Don't visit. I'm not invited to family gatherings, not included in group texts. My grandchildren, except Tyler, barely speak to me. I should feel devastated. That's what everyone expects. Instead, I feel light-free. I sold 2 of my rental properties. Kept one, a duplex in Tempe that generates income. Used the proceeds to travel. Real travel. Not the tentative trips Richard and I always planned but never took. I spent 3 weeks in Italy. Walking through Tuscany, drinking wine, eating pasta, crying at the beauty of it all and wishing Richard could see it. I went to Ireland, Scotland, France. I came home and adopted 2 dogs from the Humane Society. Lola and Max. Rescues. They follow me everywhere. I joined a book club, made new friends, real ones, who like me for me, not for what I can give them. Tyler visits once a month, brings his girlfriend. We have dinner, talk honestly. He's angry at his father, working through it. "Grandma," he said last visit, "I'm sorry. For what they did, for not seeing it. You're not responsible for their choices. Still, you deserved better. I'm getting better. Now. Every day. What I would tell them if they asked, they won't ask. But if they did, here's what I'd say. You didn't lose your inheritance. You never had one. Inheritance isn't a right. It's a gift, and gifts go to people who appreciate them. You didn't lose your mother because she got mean or vindictive. You lost her because you stopped seeing her as a person and started seeing her as an ATM with a pulse. Every call was a request. Every visit was a transaction. You never asked how I was, never asked about my life, my loneliness, my grief. You never showed up unless you needed something. And when I finally had nothing left to give, you tried to take what remained by force. So no, I don't regret protecting myself. I don't regret the trust. I don't regret cutting you off. I regret that I didn't see it sooner, that I enabled you for so long, that I taught you, through my actions, that love was about money. But I've learned now, and I'm teaching myself a new lesson. I deserve better, even at 72. Maybe especially at 72. The truth about family. Here's what nobody tells you about aging. Your children don't owe you anything, but here's what everyone forgets. You don't owe them anything either. I spent 40+ years raising them, supporting them, loving them. I did my job. I did it well. Now they're adults. Their choices are their own. Their consequences are their own. And if those choices include betrayal, if those consequences include losing me, that's on them. Blood doesn't make family. Actions do. And their actions showed me exactly who they are. So I believe them. To anyone reading, this if you're caring for aging parents while secretly calculating their net worth, stop. If you're pressuring your elderly relatives to help with money they've earned, stop. If you're frustrated that they're living too long, spending your inheritance on themselves, get help. Because here's the truth. That money was never yours. That house was never yours. Their savings, their assets, their security, none of it belongs to you. They earned it. They get to spend it. On themselves, on vacations, on dogs, on burning it in a bonfire if they want. And if you can't love them without counting the cost, then you don't love them at all. You love their money. There's a difference. The peace I found. I'm 73 now. The house is quiet but not empty. Lola and Max see to that. I still do my own finances. Still sharp. Still managing my trust, my remaining property, my life. I think about David and Claire sometimes. Wonder if they ever understood. Doubt they do. But I don't wonder if I did the right thing. I know I did. Because every morning I wake up without resentment, without obligation, without the weight of being used. I wake up free. And that's worth more than $890,000. That's worth everything. If this story resonated with you, if you've been used by people you loved, if you've had to choose between family and self-respect, share it. Comment below with your own story, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because these conversations matter. Sometimes the greatest inheritance you can leave is the lesson that love isn't transactional, and sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is knowing when to stop, giving to people who only know how to take.